In 1979, the unthinkable happened inside a high-security U.S. prison. Assata Shakur, one of America's most wanted women, vanished in broad daylight. Guards were taken hostage, a prison van was hijacked, and by the time the smoke cleared, the FBI was left humiliated. But how did a woman sentenced to life in prison manage to outsmart the entire U.S. justice system? This is the shocking and mysterious story of Assata Shakur's daring escape. A story so unbelievable, it feels like a Hollywood thriller. To understand how this happened, we first need to know who Assata Shakur really was. Born Joanne Deborah Chesimard in 1947, she grew up in New York and later joined the Black Panther Party before becoming part of the Black Liberation Army. To her supporters, she was a revolutionary who fought against racial injustice and police brutality. But to U.S. authorities, she was a dangerous militant involved in violent crimes. Her most infamous case came in May 1973, when a routine traffic stop on the New Jersey Turnpike turned into a deadly shootout. Trooper Werner Förster was killed, another officer was wounded, and one of Shakur's companions was also shot dead. Assata, who was wounded during the gunfight, was captured and eventually convicted in 1977 of murder and several other charges. The court sentenced her to life in prison. She was locked away in Clinton Correctional Facility for women in New Jersey. For most people, that would have been the end of the story. A life sentence meant dying behind bars, but Assata Shakur's story was only just beginning. Inside prison, she became a powerful symbol for Black liberation groups across the country. Many believed she had been wrongly convicted or unfairly targeted by the government. The FBI considered her a threat, but her allies considered her a political prisoner, and in the shadows, a bold plan was being prepared. On November 2, 1979, that plan was set into motion. It started like any other day. A few visitors checked in at the prison gates, claiming to be family and friends coming to see Assata. But once inside, they pulled out concealed weapons and turned the facility upside down. 2 prison guards were taken hostage at gunpoint. The armed visitors stormed the halls, moving quickly and decisively. Within minutes, they found Assata Shakur. The escape was swift and brutal. The armed group forced guards into a van, using them as cover to drive straight out of the prison grounds. In one daring move, Assata Shakur, America's so-called most dangerous woman, was free. The FBI would later call it one of the most humiliating prison breaks in U.S. history. For years after her escape, Assata disappeared without a trace. The FBI launched a massive manhunt. Her face was plastered on wanted posters across America, and she was added to the list of the FBI's most wanted terrorists. Yet no matter how hard they searched, they couldn't find her. Rumors swirled. Some said she was hiding in Harlem. Others believed she had fled overseas. The mystery only deepened, fueling her legend. Then, in 1984, the mystery was finally solved. Assata Shakur re-emerged in Havana, Cuba. The communist leader Fidel Castro granted her political asylum, calling her a victim of racial persecution and U.S. injustice. For the American government, it was a diplomatic nightmare. For her supporters, it was a victory. In Cuba, Assata lived under the protection of the Cuban government. She became a writer, an activist, and a voice for revolutionary movements around the world. She insisted she never killed anyone, and that she had been targeted because of her political beliefs. Meanwhile, the U.S. government never stopped demanding her return. At one point, they even placed a $2 million bounty on her capture. But she remained untouchable. Her escape became legendary. To some, it was proof that justice could never be silenced. To others, it was a reminder of the failures of the U.S. justice system. For decades, her story has divided opinions. Was she a fugitive terrorist or a freedom fighter who stood against oppression? Even after her death in Cuba in 2025, that debate continues. But one fact is certain. Assata Shakur's 1979 prison escape remains one of the most daring and mysterious breakouts in American history. A woman sentenced to life in prison walked out of the gates and vanished into thin air, leaving behind questions that may never truly be answered. So what do you think? Was Assata Shakur a revolutionary hero who escaped injustice? Or a convicted killer who escaped justice? The truth may depend on which side of history you stand on. If you found this story shocking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories from history.